like they not what they're doing is okay, but now come on now, the chicken's getting cold. Who's gonna help me serve the chicken? Well, you can go back to praising him after we put out the bread and we pick up the so there was this little bit of friction between Mary and Martha, but they were sisters. Look, they said, but you're my sister. So I can't stay mad at you but so long, because we're sisters, we're blood. And so Martha was the servant, Mary was the worshiper, worshiper. But Jesus loved both of them. And then there was Lazarus. Hey, Lazarus didn't say nothing. He ain't do nothing. All he did was live. All he did was show up. All he did was sit. All he did was be present. Now, there's some folk that they don't work, they don't worship. They just come, you see them, they just sitting there. They're just a living witness. Look at your neighbor, say, you got to live it. You got to live it. I know you bring me something to help me. Thank you, sister. That's my sister. I have to be right for the camera, right? She my sister. So you got Mary, who's a worshiper. You got Martha, who's a worker. And you got Lazarus, who's just living it. Look at your neighbor and say, all three of them Jesus loved. And all three of them are in us. Oh, the trichotomy of the church is embodied in Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. If you don't live it, don't nobody care what you say. And if you live it and you don't never say nothing, don't nobody know what you really feel. And if you never work, then your work is never justified before men, because men don't know your heart. God knows your heart. Men see you and they know you by the fruit that you do. So you got to work out what you know inside your heart. And you got to live out what you believe. And you got to worship the God who gave it all to you. God loves all three of them, Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. So now, the lesson for the disciples is faith. Here they come. Last lesson, resurrection. All of the I ams have been completed, except for the last one. I am the bread. I'm the water. I'm the way. Here we come. I am the resurrection. Last one on the list. Jesus got to finish it because he got to go to Jerusalem. He got to go to Calvary. Running out of tick. Okay. So he's going to deal with them now in Bethany. And he goes out to Bethany. And he gets a message just outside of Bethany. He's about 2 days' journey out. And he gets a little love note from Mary and Martha. He whom thou lovest is sick. Now, they've already done what they could, because there ain't no sense in you calling on Jesus if you can fix it. Lord, give me a job. Not till you go out and look for one. Fill out an application, turn in the resume, hit the pavement, go and do some interviews. After you've done all you can, then you tell you to pray over the resume before you send it, but you got to write the resume. Lord, I need a resume. Can I share this with you, and then I'm going to let y'all go? I'm coming up on my first landing. When I was a young preacher, and I saw the preachers as I was coming up, the ones that were charismatic, that would say, open your mouth and the Lord will speak for you. Well, I just took that literally, okay? And so one week I had to preach, and I only had to preach like once a month back in the day. And so I was really getting ready for this. It was coming up. It was going to be on Sunday, and it was Monday. And I went to the Lord. I said, Lord, give me a word. Give me a word. I did. I didn't know no better. Give me a word. And nothing happened, And on Tuesday night, I went to the Lord. I said, Lord, I know you got a word for me. Give me a word. And this happened Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. And I went and I was getting nervous because it was like Saturday, and I had to speak on Sunday, and the Lord still hadn't spoken. And Saturday night, I was desperate. I said, Lord, I was like, I got to have a word tonight. I got to have a word tonight. Give me a word. And the Lord spoke. And you know what he said? You lazy. You done had all week to get a word together, study and prepare a message, and you lazy. So look at somebody and say, so do what you can. Do your part. Don't be lazy in the kingdom. Everything that you pray for, be willing to be a part of the answer to the prayer. And do all that you can. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. And then when you run out of resources, you've done all you can do. Like Mary and Martha, I'm sure they had taken care of Lazarus. They had looked after him. They gave him some soup. They probably gave him some leave. If there was some leave back then, might not have been on leave. But they did the best they could. And he was still sick. And they had done all they could. And they wrote a note. And they said, we've done all we could. This is a job for Jesus now. We're going to send a note to Jesus. Jesus, he whom thou lovest is sick. Because of the relationship they had, they didn't even have to call his name. He whom thou lovest is sick. To have the kind of relationship that does not require that you go through all the names in order to get his attention is what he's looking for. Jesus, not thou who sits at the corner of the earth with the all-seeing eye and sits on the compass. That sounds like masonry talk. Thou who is in this and upside down and on top of this and underneath this and El Shaddai and Adonai and Elohim and Rohim and no. Jesus, he whom thou lovest, sick. Look at your neighbor, tell him, I got it like that with him. I can just call him in the morning and just say, it's me, Lord. It's Lucille, Lord. It's just Tommy. And don't even have to necessarily call him. It's me. And it's me, oh Lord. And I'm standing again in the need of prayer. Here I am. You know, I've done all I know how to do. And you're the one who's going to have to fix this, right? So they send the note to Jesus. 2 days out, Jesus gets the note. Disciples are in class. And he says, now, let's see, I got this note here. This is in the middle of a lecture. And he goes, oh, yes, by the way, we have a note here from Mary and Martha. Lazarus is sick. But I just want you to know that this sickness is not unto death, but that the Lord's Son might be glorified. And then he gets ready to start going back to teaching. Well, I can imagine one of the disciples will say, well, but Jesus, if he's your friend and he's sick, why don't you just go and heal him? You've healed everybody else. We've seen you heal over and over and over again. It's no big thing for you to heal. There's nothing new for you to heal. We expect you to heal. We can take for granted for the fact that you're able to heal. So let's go heal him. We ready to go with you to do what you usually do. Heal him. And then Jesus puts a note down. And he says, you know what? Lazarus is sleeping. I'm going to wake him out of sleep. And then one of the smart disciples said, must have been Peter. Had to be Peter. Who else would have the audacity to say, well, Jesus, if he's sleeping, he's doing fine. So we don't have to do nothing, right? And Jesus says, listen, may I explain further? The sleeping is death in the temporal. And I have allowed it, and I'm not there, to the intent that you may believe that I am really all that I say I am. You've been with me all these years, and you're still not sure. And so we're going to go in, we're going to raise him. And so now, 4 days have passed while he's explaining to them, because they're slow. Look at your neighbor and say, don't look at me like that. We slow too. How long has he been showing us his glory? Okay. So he gathers them up and he heads to Bethany. In the meantime, 4 days have passed. Mary and Martha, Lazarus has got worse and died. In the midst of their faith, in the midst of their expectation, they knew he was able. He had done it before for many. He loves us. Surely he's coming to get us out of this. Lazarus, don't worry about a thing. Jesus is coming.